Central, Station Nord. Internal line recording.
Station Nord to Central. Do you read me?
Who is this?
Kellner.
At Station Nord. No one works by that name.
Signal Archive. Register 4625K17. Designation UVB-76. Public designation the buzzer. Since 1982, the frequency 4,625 kilohertz has been monitored almost without interruption. The buzzing tone that gave it its name has run in its present form since 1990. The public records note numerous voice transmissions. 23 of them could never be matched to any known protocol. The archive notes 24. This is the 24th. The speaker who compiled this register is not available for addenda. The present version has been re-recorded. It draws on the original register, 2 tapes, 1 line recording, and the testimony of a single witness. Station Nord is a single room at the end of a concrete corridor. 1 receiver, 1 tape machine, 1 registry terminal, 1 telephone. The station monitors the frequency 4625 in 2 shifts without interruption. On the night of the 22nd of March, the night shift technician took over the station shortly after 2. His surname is recorded in the files several times. Kellner. His first name is not. It was his 847th night. Of the handover, there is a recording.
Shift change. All quiet?
4625 stable. Levels unchanged. No incidents. 12 hours, not a single dropout.
The day shift technician left the station a few minutes later. Kellner signed the handover list, poured himself coffee, and sat down at the receiver. His mug was tin. It hung on a hook above the set and had, by his own count, lasted 800 nights. At 2:12, he wrote the first logbook entry of the shift. It reads, Logbook entry, 22nd of March, 0212 Central European Time. Night shift Kellner. Signals monitoring, Station Nord. Frequency 4625, active. Signal strength S7. Carrier stable. Modulation unchanged. Continuous recording running. Tape 7. Nothing to report. The first 90 minutes of the shift passed without incident. The buzzing tone repeated, as it has repeated for decades. At 0341, it stopped. Mid-pulse. The carrier remained active. The frequency remained stable. It simply transmitted nothing. What 4625 transmitted in the seconds that followed is held by the archive in the original.
File 44017B. Name deleted. Before creation.
Kellner noted the translation in the same minute. The name was deleted before the file was ever created. He flagged the continuous recording. Time mark 0341. The file number from the transmission did not exist. The registry reported twice. No file found. Kellner extended the search to reserved and incomplete entries. Then the station's printer began to work. Kellner had not sent a print job. The printout came to one line. Registry reserved. Release the 23rd of March, 0341. It was the 22nd. Kellner reported the incident to Central by telephone, naming the release date. The shift supervisor instructed him to bring in the recording and the printout. He removed tape 7 and left the station. At Central, Kellner compared his wristwatch with the wall clock above the door. His watch read 3:37. The wall clock read 3:56. The shift supervisor had the tape played. Tape 7 is today held in the collection of this archive. The following playback begins at 0340. Oh, 340 and 58. 59. Oh, 341 and 19. On tape 7, there is no voice, no silence, no interruption. Between two time marks lies exactly 1 second. Between these two lie 20. Kellner counted the pulses. Not one is missing. Only the time between them is missing. 19 seconds. The printout Kellner produced no longer carried a release date at that point, only the number. The shift supervisor had heard the date an hour earlier on the telephone. Her answer, when asked, is recorded in the register. It reads, "I think so." Central's duty system listed 5 shifts for Kellner that week. He had worked 6. For the current night, no relief was entered for Station Nord. The key with which Kellner had opened the station door 2 hours earlier was examined. It was a blank. No bit, no stamping. The shift supervisor retained the tape and the printout and sent Kellner back. For the remainder of the night, there exists a single witness statement. It comes from the day shift technician. Central had called her and sent her back to the station because of a fault. When Kellner arrived, his key would no longer turn. The door was opened from the inside. The technician states that she did not know the man outside the door. Central's call had come 20 minutes earlier. Kellner came directly from there. The walk takes 5 minutes. Kellner named what had to be in the room. His coat behind the door, his mug at the receiver, his logbook entry from 212. Behind the door hung no coat. At the receiver stood a single mug. Porcelain. On the wall above the set, no hook, no drill holes, the paint untouched. The last entry in the logbook was the technician's own. 0054. After that, nothing. In the handover list, between the last entry and the bottom edge, one empty line. The technician stated for the record, "No lines are left blank." Then the station's receiver began to transmit. What it played back was received on the frequency at the same time. The recording exists.
Logbook entry. 22nd of March. 0212 Central European Time. Night shift Kellner. Signals monitoring. Station Nord. Frequency 4625 active. Signal strength S7. Carrier stable. Modulation unchanged. Continuous recording running. Tape 7. Nothing to report.
The technician states that Kellner did not move during the playback. Then she asked him a question. The question, too, is part of the recording.
What is your name?
Kellner.
No. Your first name.
I don't know.
Shortly afterwards, the telephone rang in the station. The shift supervisor asked whether anyone was still there with her. The technician states that she turned around. Her answer is on record. It reads, "I believe so." Addendum to Signal Record 4625K17. The file number named during the transmission was assigned automatically by the main index on the 23rd of March at 0341, 24 hours after the transmission. To the second. The file contains no documents. It contains a redacted name and the note, "Deletion completed before creation." For the night shift of the 22nd of March, no technician was assigned. The files contain a written instruction to leave Station Nord unmanned after the end of the day shift until 6 in the morning. None of the persons questioned states that they issued this instruction. Station Nord has no room microphones. The recordings of the handover and of the questioning enclosed with this register do not originate from the station room. They were received on the frequency. That night, 4625 transmitted 3 voices. The first is listed in the files as night shift. A name is not recorded. The third voice could not be matched to any member of the archive. The playback of the handover resumes at the point at which it was stopped.
One voice remains.
The station's own recording of the same night, tape 7, was found on the shift supervisor's desk in the morning. She states that she does not know how it got there. Tape 7 contains no voices and no interruption. How the remaining sections of this register were documented is not recorded. Central's telephone lines are recorded. The last logged call from Station Nord came in at 0426. Duration noted, 19 seconds. The shift supervisor states that she does not remember this call. The technician states that at the time of the call she was alone in the station. Who placed the call is not recorded. This file is closed. The next one opens next week. Subscribe and turn on notifications if you don't want to miss it.